Hey, welcome to another Flex session. My name is Tyler Hill. Today we're going to do another advanced feature and it's called CMA. So I'm going to show you basically how to create a CMA. So what we're going to do first is we're going to come over here to the upper left where it says menu. I'm going to click on the drop down for menu. And we're going to come under search. And I know CMA is right there, but we're actually going to do it a different way to make it easier to get your comps for your CMA. So we're actually going to click on quick search right here. All right, after clicking on quick search, it's going to bring us to quick search. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually use this tool to narrow it down. So by default, it's going to automatically have active houses. So it says it's 3,755. It's a lot for a CMA. So we won't actually want to do a CMA, we want closed property. So what we're going to do is come over here on the side where it says status of active. And we're going to make a drop down and we're going to go to closed. Now, some CMA, some people do count pending houses in their CMA because they're about to close out. So in this one, we can count pending houses too. Now, when we do this, it does jump up to 9,785. So we're still a lot more than we had before, but we're going to narrow it down as we go along. So when you click closed and pending up here, and how I selected both of them, I held down the control key and I was able to click on the next one. I was able to click on more than one. When I do that, I get both these down here with checkboxes for the sold date and the pending date. Now yours may have a date here and here just it looks like this. If it looks like this, perfectly fine. All you have to do is click these two arrows right here and it changes it to what I had before. So right now I have it on days. So right now it's set back to go about back a year and a day. I'm just going to change that to 365. Sorry about that. Okay, so I set it down 365 days, so now it's just listed that way. If I want to go back at least a year. Now, some realtors, when they do a CMA, they go back 6 months or a year. I just pick a year. Hey, well, you can do whichever is your preference. So once we have that set, now we're going to scroll down here. Now, the rest of the filling this out, you can fill this out really to however you want your CMA to kind of be based off of. So for me, I would want to do a property subtype as in single family residential. You can then scroll down, you can base it off an area if you want to. You can base it off the sub area, you can base it off the zip code, you can base it off the listing price if you want to. But for this one, I want to kind of incorporate all of the houses. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick the square foot total finish. I'm gonna say 800 by 13. Now that dramatically does shrink it, but still 4,177 is still a lot. So I'm just gonna go off of this right now and I'll click right here where it says view map. And then we look at the map, zoomed out. And still got a lot of dots, that's a lot of comps. So we're gonna narrow this down really quick to almost single digit numbers. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come right here where the red push pin is down in the bottom left hand corner. What this red push pin is used for is for us to locate our subject property. So when doing this, you should have your subject property, which is the house that you're having trouble selling. That's normally the subject property. Or you want to know, take the back, sorry. You want to know how much you should sell the house for. Normally that house is going to be your subject property. So what we're going to do is click this red push pin down here. And it's going to ask for an address. I'm going to type in a random address. Just type in my address. You can type in also the city. There we go. Okay, this will be a good one because we have houses within the area. So that pin should actually be right there. Now, when your pin gets placed on the area, what you'll have to do from this point, sorry, is click where it says use this location. Once you click that, it puts the pin down so the pin doesn't move around. So now I have my subject property, and luckily in this case, this house has been on the MLS. So what I'm going to do is now sell that 4,177. So what I'm going to do is create a radius search around it. So I'm going to click right here where it says radius search. And it's going to say radius search of so and so miles from here. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to turn this into 0.3. And just like that, I shrunk my radius search. I made my radius search and I shrunk my numbers from 4,000 all the way down to just 10. So now I have my sold/pending houses with the square footage of between 813, and I have as a single family residential. So right now 11 comps it's pretty good to work with. So what you can do from this point is you can come over here to detail. Sorry. You can sit here and be at detail, and you can look through the houses and see the comps that you got and see if this is really the comps that you want. So on this one, I am going to, okay, I'm going to take, this one, I'm going to take this MLS number. Yeah, let's take it from over here, it'll be easier. Okay, I'm going to just take it from here, and I just need the MLS because it's going to be my subject property. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my MLS number up to actually doing starting the CMA process. Now, before I start CMA, as I said before, you may want to look through here and see if these are houses you actually want to use. If not, you can actually come through here and select the houses in this list by clicking the checkbox each one to which one you actually want to use. Completely up to you. Or you can just use all of them. So if all these houses are good, you want to go and jump into CMA, what you're going to do is come over here to the upper right corner, and you're going to click CMA. So again, after you get done looking at these, you're going to come up here at the upper right hand corner and click CMA. Now, once you do this, it's going to pop up and say, use all results you selected. We're going to pay attention to the first two at the top. What we're going to do is, in this case, if you didn't select any, you want to use all of them, you're going to click on use all results. If you did click on something down there and you want to use those, you can. You'll just click on use selected. So I'm going to say use all results. And then once you do that, you should come to this page right here. This page right here is the first step in the CMA process. So looking at this, we have full CMA, quick CMA, or statistical CMA. We're going to go over full CMA for this session, but I can at least tell you what these other ones are. So at least I'll start from the right and go to the left. So a full CMA is the same thing as a quick CMA. The only difference is it has a subject property. So a full CMA has a subject property. A quick CMA is just side-by-side comparison of comps. Then a statistical one is basically a bunch of comps, but it's more broken down in numbers. So if you're a numbers kind of person, you can do a statistical CMA. But today, what I'm going to do is a full CMA, and the full CMA actually also covers a quick CMA. So what we're going to do is come right here and click on where it says next step. All right. Once we click on next step, from this point, what we're going to do is fill out the cover sheet. So it's going to be on this page is the cover sheet. The cover sheet is the first thing your client's going to see when they get the CMA sent to them. So on this one, the very top, you have title as comparable market analysis. You can change that as is. It's a CMA. You can, and then right here for 4, you can type in their name. So for so and so's family or whichever your client's name or whatever it may be, you can type the 4 there. Then as of, that is the date that you created it. That could change. Like say you work on it today and then you come back tomorrow. It'll still say Friday. If you want to say the current date, you can click the radio button right here to say current date. Then down here on the buy field, you have one, which probably your name and then your brokerage. You're gonna want to choose this blank one with the drop down. And you have the option between a generic card, a profile card horizontal, or profile card vertical. What we're gonna do is a generic card. Generic card is probably is most one you probably want because it's gonna have your name, your brokerage, your email, your phone number, your profile picture, and your logo if you uploaded your profile and logo. So basically, it's your run-of-the-mill card that normally everybody sees on one of the listings. Then below here, you have comments. And you have 3,000 characters. So in comments, you may want to say to the person, thank you for choosing me as your realtor. Here's the CMA that we talked about, all the comps and everything that I've compiled for you. And here's about a ballpark of what your house should be sold for. And again, we don't think you know the whole reason for doing a CMA. So doing a CMA is if it's a comparable market analysis. So say you have somebody that has a home and they're not sure how much they should sell it for. By doing a CMA, it kind of gives them that ballpark range of how much they should be selling their house for. So that's mainly the purpose of doing a CMA. So jumping back into this, once we fill all this out with the generic card and everything, we're going to go over here and click next step. Now, next step is right here is the subject property. Now, what this is, what the house that's in question is what we're going to enter that information in here. There's 2 ways we can go about this. There's auto and manual. If the house has not been in the MLS before, you'll have to enter in all the information manually. So that means the address, the city, the state, the zip, how many bedrooms, baths, full baths, half baths, above grade finish, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do in the other options, if you want to do an auto, if the said house that we picked is been in the MLS before, we can just enter in the MLS number. So if you're going to do it manually, what we're going to do is right here where it says auto populate fields from existing listing, we're going to click on this. And I'm going to paste that MLS number I copied into here. And I'm going to leave it on Louisville MLS. And I'm going to click submit. And ta-da. So it popped in all that information. So it popped in the street name, the city, the state, the zip code. It popped in the total number of bedrooms, baths, full baths, halves, above grade finish, and so on and so forth. So now we got all this information filled out. We didn't have to really fill out anything except for just the MLS number, which is fine. So we have all these fields, but say in the chance that you have all these fields and you want to add an additional field, like say one's missing from here, right down here you have the option of what says new item. So when we click new item, what that will do is it'll add another field and we can add in another field of information. So on this one, I picked, On the other one, when I was doing the search, I asked for the square foot total finished. So I'm going to add that one in there. Now, as you notice, it's threw it in there, but you notice that it comes up blank. And you're probably wondering, like, well, it has to have a total square finish, and it's blank. Well, if you add another field and it comes up blank, all you have to do if you did it off an auto and it comes up blank, you just have to come back to the auto populate fields from existing listing, click on it, pulls back up the MLS number, and click submit again, and it throws it in there. Now I actually have an amount in there. Now it's filled out and everything. So let's moving over a little bit more. We have right here what's called the price per calculation field. The price per calculation field, what it does is once we get to the summary tab, it gives a bit of a further breakdown of how it came to that number for the house. Now that does not include some other small stuff. Like say you did a different area with like say like a pool and a tennis court and all that, that does kind of partially weigh into the cost of the house. But in this area picked, it doesn't actually have like a tennis court and all that, so it doesn't really weigh into the part of the cost. But this does show you about how pretty much most majority of the money how much the cost actually came up for the house. So I'm going to pick two of them. I'm going to pick the square foot total finish and also the above grade finish. When you're filling this out, at least one of them has to be filled out. Check marked. You can have as many check marked as you would like. Now, if you have a field in here you don't want anymore, you can just click the X and it gets rid of it. All right. But once all of this is set up, you're good to go to the next step. But one more thing. If you do this manually and enter in all this information manually, you'll be prompted after you enter it all in to actually have to put a pin to say that this is the actual location of the subject property. Just letting you know, so in case you do it manually. So now we're going to click next step in the bottom right hand corner. All right, so now we're on the comps page, and now we notice that our comps, we already have some comps in here. So what I had to do at the beginning of the video was pick out your comps. By you picking out your comps, that just cut down a lot of work and we don't have to go out and find the comps again. We don't have to probably actually find the comps in the first place. So here's all 11 comps that I found. Now one of them I'm going to take out because that's my subject property. So I really have 10. But now I have all my comps in here. Now if I get to this point, I see some houses I don't want to include. I can exclude them from there. So say I don't want to include. So I don't want to include this one on Green Cove Circle. I can do two things. I can uncheck it like this, or if I want to remove it altogether, I can just click the X right here and I can get rid of it. So it also works like that. So now I am down to, I believe, 9. Yeah, I'm down to 9 comps, which is still good. I always tell people that it's either you have 3 or 4. 3 or 4 is about a good number to start a CMA. So once this all looks good and ready to go, I'm liking it, I'm gonna come over here to next step and click on next step. All right, so now I am on next, I click the next step at the bottom, and now we're on adjustments. Now adjustments you do not have to do to continue on throughout the CMA. However, if you do want to do them, it is here. So the adjustments is where you would put in numbers to adjust to other homes that may be slightly different than yours. So more explaining that is, say, one of the houses had an additional room built on it. So you would probably price that house a little bit higher than the others or add that extra feature and like say it wasn't pre-calculated and you can go on and calculate it at the set point. You can do it two ways too. You can do it auto, or you can do it manually. So if you want to do it manually, you can just come over here and add a plus or a minus. So if I want to say, let's say the above grade finish was, say it was like plus 50. If we did that, then we just put in auto adjustment. Now, the numbers that you type in here, we do not know that. We more so for you would know the number. If you do not, the better person to talk to is an appraiser, because an appraiser can probably tell you the better number that it costs for a bedroom or bath or this and that throughout the house. Now, if you may want to do an auto and not do it by hand, you can come down here where it says Edit Adjustment List and click on that. Let's make sure it's okay. I'm gonna come back right here, and we're gonna do is click here, and then all I did again was I came down here to the bottom. I clicked Edit Adjustment List. When I click on that, this appears. And yours is going to come out blank, which is good because I have mine blank right now. So we're going to add to it. We're going to come right here. It says Add New. I'm going to ask for the property type. I'm going to pick residential. And it's going to ask for a field. And it's going to ask for what field you want to do. I'm going to do above grade finish. And I'm just going to say, I'm guessing, I'm just entering a number. I'm saying 50. I'm going to hit save. Now I put it, so it says for the above grade, it's 50 plus for each unit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come right over here where it says now I have my adjustment in there. Now I'm going to click where it says auto adjust comparables. So I'm going to click right there. Now we can get this message, and all it's saying, it's not going to change the square footage. It's just going to input the numbers in there based off what I did down at the bottom when we just added in that number to do the auto. So I'm going to click OK. It's going to say you have 8 adjustments have been added. I'm going to click OK. Now you're looking and like, well, nothing's happened. Nothing has happened. Something has happened. We just got to implement it. So what you have to do is come over here and just click on any of these other ones over here on the left, and then click back on the above grade finish. And then we come back over here and look, and it's like, okay, now we have our adjustments. So that's how you do it manually. Again, I'll reemphasize that the number I entered in, I just entered a random number because I do not know. Either you or the appraiser would know the better number to enter in here at this moment. So now I've made my adjustments, and you can make the adjustments to the other ones if you want to as well. But if everything's good from here, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to summary. So you can click next step or click summary. So I'm going to click next step in the bottom. All right. So what I did was I got now is here to the summary page. So on the summary page, this is all of the math done with the comparables along with the subject property. And this is what's coming up for those for the comps that we pulled. It's showing you the listing price, the days on market, the cumulative days on market, the sold date, the sold price. And it shows the adjustments that it made, and it's showing the adjusted price. So the adjusted price is, as you can see, the sold price minus the total adjustments. Now as we scroll down, this also has the pending ones as well. Then down here we have the low, average, mean, and high. So it's saying the lowest number was 56,000, and the highest one was for the close was 116,000. The other one for pending was 121,750, and the highest overall was 121,750. And now we're going to scroll down, and we have right here, we have our comps, but now we have, it says calculations based on important values, and it says price per above grade, price per square foot total. Now, you're probably wondering what this one is. Now, remember that thing I talked to you about with the price per calculation field? this is accompanied to that. So this is the price per calculation field. This is the results of that. So what it shows is the square footage for the total square foot total finished and the above grade finished, more of a breakdown of how that contributes to the overall listing price of the house. So now you can kind of see how they stack up and how they differ and all that between the homes. Then if you come down here toward the bottom, we have the average. We have the average for the market analysis. So we have the average listing price, the sold volume, the average sold price, the average list slash the average sell slash list price, the average above grade finish, the average list above grade finish, and the average sold above grade finish, the average days on market, and average cumulative days on market. So about the average on above grade was about 100. So now once we get these numbers in, we can click on and everything looks good. We can click next step. Now, if these numbers here again do not look good, you can always go back to the previous steps and change the numbers around and see how it works out for you. But if everything looks good, we're gonna click next step down here on the bottom right. It's taking a second. There we go. All right, so it's saying right here that it's giving over our recommendations. So this is just telling us based on the information we've entered in, this is about what we should be looking at price-wise for the house. So the lowest you can sell the house for is $56,250. The highest you can sell it for is $116,200, and the recommended that you sell it for around is $95,864. And down here you can calculate it by the high and low using high and low price for comparables, or you can also base it off of a percentage. And you use a percentage for the above slash below recommended price. And what you can do is down here on next step. If this all looks good to you, you can just click next step right here. All right. So once we make it here, we've pretty much gone through the entire CMA. So if this is your first CMA, congratulations. So now the last part is just organizing what you want to show on a CMA. So right now, by default, it's going to show all of the information that we've gone through and we've seen, along with some charts. So if we come through, it's going to show the cover page, the map of the subject and comparable properties, the street map, the subject property description, the side-by-side comparables of all markets, and so on and so forth. You can change up the look of it. You can change the CMA for the color scheme. You can change the report to show a different report than the full report. But I would go with the full report on this one. Just make sure you do not change this one at the end that says public report, because that goes back to the whole settings of a public and private. When you have public will not, I repeat, will not show the listing agent's information on that house. Because last thing you want your client to do is see another listing agent and they might try to go with that listing agent than you. So remember, leave that on public report. If you put it on private report, that will show the listing agent's information and all that for each listing. So just an FYI to you. So if you want to make sure what the report looks like, you're going to come down here to the bottom and you're going to click on view. All right. And once that pulls up for you, all right, so once that pulls up, you have the picture of the subject property. You also have the title that you called it along with the date. Scroll down, you'll see your business card right here, and your business card with your photo and your logo. I don't have one because I never input one. We scroll down, we have the map of the subject and comparables. So we have the map showing where our subject is, which is the pin. And then all these other blue dots and yellow dots, those are our comps that we used. There's a color coordinated down here. Then right here, it shows our subject property address, and it shows us our comps, the address, and shows how far in distance they are away from each other. Then we have subject property. Then we have the information we entered in for our subject property. And as we scroll down, we see our subject property on the left along with our comparables on the right. So this is where we see the side-by-side comparison. So as we look down this, we can see the distance between them. We can see the listing price, the sold, is it pending? Let's see also the closed. We can also scroll down and see where the adjustments were made on the house if one were made. So in this one case, we did have adjustments. Actually, yeah, sorry, adjustments right here. Yeah, we can see the adjustments that were made on the house. Then we can see how mathematically it all came out toward the bottom. And for the rest of these, it's the same process for the rest of these houses. We're just going to scroll through and we can see them. So again, I say look at these numbers and just make sure they look pretty right to you. If not, then I'll say go back and make sure about the information that you may have entered in. And we can come down here and we have the charts of the list price is in green, so that was actual list price. Sold, they sold it for this much, and then they have the adjusted. Then after the adjustments, that's about where it meets it on the chart. And this says that for each of the different comps. If we scroll down a little bit more, we get the low, average, mean, and high on a chart. So we can see the lowest it went for on a chart, the average, the mean, and the high. Also along with the recommended price. Then we scroll down further, we get all those charts, but broken down into actual numbers. So this one, it shows the total adjustments and the adjusted price after. Also for the pending, then now we see the low, average, median, high in numbers. And down here we see the overall market analysis, which we've seen, which was the average for all of the different areas. And as we scroll down even further, we have right here, oops, sorry about that. I dropped my mouse. There we go. All right, so this shows what we've seen before, which was the price per calculation field. So right here, it shows the price per calculation field. We can see the adjusted price, the price per above grade, and the price per square foot total finish. So we can see how those numbers further broke down right here on the side, as you can see. And as we scroll down, we have the listing price recommendation, which right here we have the low, high, and recommended price that the house should go for. And then right below that, we have what's called the Lou Full Report. So on the Lou Full Report is where you're probably familiar with this, how they conceal the information that we see on the house. Now notice right here, down here, that this house does not have the listing agent's information in that there. So that's part of the reason of leaving the report as public. And then right here at the bottom, you can see the above grade finish and square feet, total finish, how much it priced out per value per square feet. And it does it for each house as you scroll through here, and you can look at it. And I'll show you along with the adjustments. Once you scroll to the bottom, that is mainly it for your report. So if you want to get back to your settings, easiest way is if you click right over here, it may open up another tab and it just close this one out. And it brings you right back to your settings. Now, if you after looking at the report, you know some of those numbers your client doesn't want to really see, you can actually uncheck these boxes so that the client does not see those reports if they don't want to even if they don't really care about it. Once you have the report all set and done, you can come to the very bottom down here and you can click email. You can email it to the client, you can save it, and then we already did view, and or you can download it to computer as a PDF. Now, say you went out to the grocery store or to go get the kids and you accidentally didn't save it and you come back and it's gone. In reality, it's actually not gone. So this CMA I have not saved at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on flex unless I get this. Do you want to leave this page? I'm going to say yeah. So there, I didn't save it as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to menu. Then I'm going to come over here to CMA and click on CMA. Now right here, that you can see it says drafts CMA, draft CMA from 7 minutes ago. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the most recent one, and you can double click on it or click edit, and ta-da! I'm back at that CMA I did not save. So now I can come down here to save, and I'm just gonna give it a name. Let's see, call it Chris, and then I'll click save. Now my CMA is saved under CMA. So now if you come here to menu right here and make the drop down and you click CMA right here, you can click on CMA there and you can get back to where it's at. You would get back to right here. And then you can see your CMA you did right there. So that's the main part of how to do a CMA. All right. So I actually want to show y'all another feature within here. I know some of the realtors are competitive, so you want to see how you rank up to other realtors. So the best way to do that is if I show you the report section. So what I'm going to do is come up here to menu in the upper left and click menu, and we're going to scroll down to statistics. And then you're going to click on inventory and production. All right, so once you click on inventory and production, this is where you'll be. Under inventory and production, it shows you a whole bunch of different types of reports that you can run. I don't have time to go over all the reports, but in your leisure, just come through here, take some time and run some reports and see what you come up with. You probably want to know why we run reports. So these reports can be useful, like say you're going into a meeting and you want to have a leg up kind of on the meeting and show them relevant information in the meeting that's important. So you can come here and depending on the situation of the meeting, just scroll through and look, see if you can find one and input the numbers and it'll spit out a report. If you're not sure what the report looks like, you have a view sample over here on the right, and you can just click on it. So this one, we're going to do the one that shows you how agents rank up in the MLS compared to each other. So what we're going to do is come here to the third one. It says saturation analysis. So when I click on saturation analysis, what I'm going to do is fill all of this out, or almost all of it. So let's start at the top. So we have property type. By default, it's highlighted with all of them. I wouldn't touch any of these because I want to count all of them, even if I sold land. Then down here on status, I want the closed houses to count. So I'm going to pick closed because if it's still active, still doesn't mean I've sold it. So I want to count what I've sold. Then right here, it's the status change date. I'm actually going to leave that alone because that could possibly skew my search. And this property subtype, I want to count all of them, so I'm not going to select any of them. Then then you have area. If you want to pinpoint a certain area and just maybe have a competitive thing with someone else, you want for an area, you can pick that. But if you want to do the MLS as a whole, I would not pick anything in it. That goes also for subdivision, zip code, municipality, and so on and so forth. Along with listing price, I wouldn't change that either because I want to count all of them. You can also do this report off of a saved search. In this case, I wouldn't. Still, that's going to be narrow. Then want to get down here to saturation comparison type. And for this one, we're actually going to change it to market share. So this accumulates the entire MLS. Down here at the bottom, you do want to change this date. This is the beginning and end date. So I want to go back a year from today. So what I'm gonna do is I go back a year from today, and so I went back to 7/26/2018. It ends on, and the end of the report should go for 7/26/2019 of today. So then I'm gonna click next down here at the bottom. And when you do that, you should be brought to this screen right here. This screen right here is for you to pick how you want to what you want to rank against. So we're gonna rank against members. I want to rank against the members of the MLS. So I'm just going to leave it on that top one, and then I'm going to click use this selection. Then it says, please select a report calculation method. I'm going to go with the dollar value because I want to see the money. Then right here, you're going to say, please select a status. And I'm going to I'm going to just leave it on sold. Down here, you get to choose which people get listed out of the MLS. So we have the listing members, the selling members, the listing and selling members, or the listing or selling members. In this case, I'm going to pick the listing or selling members because it's the way it's going to work. Is if you did listing members, it's just going to show just the listing members. If you do selling members, it's going to show just the selling members. You do listing and selling, they have to have I can't say it. The listings will only the listing that will show up or they count will only be ones that actually had a listing and selling member. So this one I'm going to pick listing or selling member because this count either or if there's either one's in there or they're both in there. So I'm going to pick that one. I'm going to leave this one on volume and sides. So if you may not know what a side is when you sell a house, if you're going in on it with someone else and you sell it, you both get a side because you both get a half. So basically they both get the credit gets split in half. So the listing agent gets one half, the selling agent gets one half, the co-listing agent gets one half. Now if you went on it all in yourself and sold it, you get one full side because you get all the credit. So that's how it counts sides. So from here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come down here. It says please enter the max number of members to display. Try not set at 10, but we probably want to see how we want to see if we rank up in the top 100 because we think we rank up in the top 100. So once we do that, we're gonna type that in. I'm gonna type in 100, and I'm gonna come down here and click next. It's gonna run, and it shouldn't take too long to pop up the report. And ta-da! So now, what this says is it shows everybody ranked up from 1 all the way up. So what you're going to do when you look at this is not be alarmed by the number 1. Number 1 is non-member. So when a agent deals with another agent, but they're not a part of the MLS, so say they deal with an agent in Lexington that's not part of our board, their name's not gonna show up in the system. So what they'll do is they'll give them the title of non-member. Now, when they give them title of non-member, all that means is that they're still getting credit, but it's just a non-member. So that's why it's so high, because it looks like a lot of agents have done work with non-members. And now to go down, number 2 is Bob Sokoler, then you have John, and so on and so forth. So best way to see if you're in the top 100 is if you hold down on the keyboard and do Control F, you'll do Control Find, and say I just type in Mike, that was already in there. And there's Mike. Oh, there. And say I'm Mike. So, oh, there I am. I'm number 12. I'm 12 out of everybody in the MLS in the last year. Now, you're probably also wondering, well, okay, that's still competitive, but what else could I use this for? You could also use this as a marketing to another brokerage. So if you're trying to go to another brokerage and they want to know why should we take you on as a realtor, you can show them this report and show them that, hey, I ranked up this many, I ranked up at this number out of all the agents we have in the MLS in total. So I'm ranked higher than most competitors. And these are my numbers of how much I've sold, my average, and everything. And they can look at this and actually see how high your number is, and see that you'd be a valuable asset to the brokerage. I'm just saying, like in that scenario, but that's one way you can market yourself. Besides just you could be cocky with it a little too, but you could also market yourself. If you want to print this out after finding yourself, you can go right over to the right side and click print, and it'll print it out on the entire list for you. That way you can carry it around and don't have to just have it on the computer. All right. So once you have all that, I'm just going to jump back to Flex MLS. And I'll show you one more thing before we wrap this up. So one other question you probably not have, the one other thing you have not done is if you're new to Flex, you probably haven't set up your business card. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So you're going to come over here to menu in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to click on that. You're going to scroll down. Hold on a second. My mouse is acting weird. Okay, so we're going to scroll down. I went too far. We're going to come to preferences. And then we're going to click on my profile. All right, your screen should look like this. Under my profile, you should have your name. This is my names, documents, address, my phone numbers, my emails, my websites, my personal logo, and my personal photo and logo, and security. Let's start at the top. So if you have names, if you click on edit names, all this is going to show is when you signed up with us, this was the name you gave us. If you have a marketing name, so say I'm Tyler Hill, but I only like to go by T Hill. So my marketing name could be I could type in my marketing name T Hill, and that's will show up if that's what I choose down here as well. Then down here is where I can select is it the system name, the marketing name, or I could use both. That way, if you prefer to go by a certain name and it shows up on all your cards and when you send out emails, it can do that too. If you do all that, you'll just click next down here if you change any of that, and it saves and updates and brings you back here. Documents, I haven't seen a lot of people use, but all it's going to do is just show, this is one document I may have saved along with my name on it. So this is like, say this is, I was messing around with this and I just added my name to the bottom. So it's really all this is. It's just you. I'm adding a document, like say your house, and you can print it off or email it to somebody because this will be your actual house. So you put your name at the bottom. That's really all this one is. Addresses is just you updating the office address of yours. So if you by chance have the wrong address showing up in Flex, you can come here and edit the address, or you can remove it, or you can add another address. So you may have two offices you want to put in here. You may have a primary office. So you can just come in here and click edit or click add or new to fix that. Then once you get done, you just click done down here. Brings back here. So and it goes on to say also for phone numbers. Phone numbers, I just have an office, but as realtors, I've seen people they also have their office, their cell, their pager, their fax in here. So if any of those numbers you see in Flex are incorrect, you can come into here and update them. Now, I do have to get a disclaimer. If you update any phone numbers in here, make sure you call us here at the board and get hold of membership and make sure that those numbers are up to date. Because if you change it in here, it does not change it in our system and it doesn't change it with NAR. So you have to make sure all your numbers are correct. So if someone's trying to get a hold of you, they're not calling the wrong number. But changing the phone numbers in here works just the same as when you were I was telling you about changing the address. You can edit one, or you can add another one, or you can remove it. Totally up to you. So once you get done with that, I'm going to click done. And then you have email addresses, same thing applies. You got multiple email addresses, but you can edit and take them out just the same. I'll click done. If you have a website, you can add your website into here. So when you send out your business card, they can also see your website at the bottom. So they know, oh, he has a website too, or she has a website too. So we're going to then type all in and click done toward the bottom. And here comes the big one. Now, remember I said I didn't have a profile picture? Well, down here, if you click on profile photo and logo maintenance, this will show where you can add those photos. Now, when you do the photo, let's see if this particular thing shows up that I want to show up. Nope. Let's get to this page, and this will show what I wanted to show. Not completely. Looks like they changed it. I'll just tell you anyway to make it easier. So when you upload a photo, the photo I believe can only be no more than 15 megabytes. It cannot be any higher, and it has to be a certain width. So all you have to do is when you fill this out, you just have to designate, is this photo you're uploading, is it a logo or is it a photo? You just have to pick between the two, or you can do other photo. So if it's your primary photo, like your actual like business professional photo, you're gonna pick photo. Give a description, say it's your professional photo or something like that. If it's your logo, say it's your logo, and then say here it's your logo. Right here, you would click browse, and you would go find your. I'll bring up the file for you. You're gonna go find your picture wherever you have it on the computer. Click open, and it'll throw it in there, and it'll pop it up right here as a preview. You can use this tool right here to set the standard portrait size so that you can go by the standards of Flex so it fits and it'll actually accept it. If not, you can resize it right here so that it matches up how big or small you would like it. Once it's done, you'll click add right here. And I didn't give it one. Then I'll bring you back right here and you'll have your photo and tell you exactly what it is. And then once you get done, you can click done. Now security, you don't really have to worry about that, but I'll go over it real quick. So in security, you have your username. You cannot select a different one. The only reason I have select different is because I am an administrator. You can change your password in here if you do want to. You can enable or disable the two-step sign-in process. All that is that when you log in, you'll enter in your password correctly, but then I'll ask you for a code, and that code is sent to your cell phone of a code to enter in. Force two-step setup on next login. So if you do it, if the enforce two-step login, which is two-step verification, that means that it will enforce it. So if they try to bypass it, they cannot do it. That's all it is. Most people don't even come in here and mess with this, and they just leave it to their password. Because if say you don't have your phone one day and you try to log in, that means you cannot do this two-step verification. Once you get done here, you can just click back to my profile, and you're back here. All right. And a quick profile maintenance is all these other ones wrapped into one area if you're trying to do it kind of quick. That's mainly it for updating your profile and updating your profile card. So now when you send emails and stuff out to other agents or the clients, they can actually see your actual face and logo and say, okay, this person's this professional, they got all their information here, so they're easy to contact. Once you have all that updated, you're good to go. All right. So going through all that would conclude this Flex session. I hope that you learned a lot, and I hope to see you on the next one.